So I've got a question here from Jack on YouTube. And it reads, are you running the Dolby Atmos Master Suite and renderer on a separate Mac, or is it running on the same Mac as your DAW? Now I run my Dolby Atmos here. This is where I'm doing all my sessions. On the S4 and on this. Up front I'm using a Mac Studio. Up front here. Then what I have up the back of the room, I have a Mac Mini. Now the Mac Mini is where my Dolby Atmos Master Suite is running. And you can opt to run the it all off of one system. So you can run DAMS, the Dolby Atmos Master Suite, on this computer and have it all over the Dolby Atmos bridge. So you can just bridge from within and do all that. So that is an option. You can do that. I prefer, and the reason I have it on a separate computer, it lightens the load off of this computer. And believe me, the Dolby Atmos Master Suite, I mean, just 1 second. I'm looking at it running idle there. And on a Mac, it's an Intel Mac Mini. And running on that, it's running at 32%. So you imagine throwing 32% onto here, albeit this one's an M1 Mac Studio, but it still would make a slight difference, and it would make a difference. And I like to separate the two. I like to have the Dolby Atmos Master Suite separate to what I'm doing here. That means that just runs in the background. That runs on a separate computer, away from the session, doesn't have any impact on my session I'm working on here. The other thing to mention about the Dolby Atmos Master Suite is that if you were to put the headphone monitoring into binaural rather than stereo, when you real-time monitor, if you real-time monitor through the Dolby Atmos Master Suite, that will go from 30% usage to about 60% usage. So it does, putting it into binaural uses a lot more processing. And this is the thing, and if you talk to anyone who is working in Logic, for instance, if you talk to anyone that's working in Logic, they will tell you, because it's all on the same system, you're continuously doing binaural rendering. It's continuously doing the binaural rendering, which is running in the background, but it's a heavy load on a computer, and it's very difficult for people on Intel Macs, not so much M1s, but on the Intels, to do all that processing without it throttling the actual session. So what happens when you're using this setup here to do your sessions, and then a separate Mac to do your Dolby Atmos rendering, is it separates the two. I'm sure it's going to work more efficiently. There's no downsides to having a separate computer running at the back with DAMs running. There's no downside to it. I mean, the only downside would probably be cost. You've got to buy yourself a different Mac, but the fact was we had one, so it made sense to use one. A screen, and you've got something different. But what is good about that is, in this setting where I've got this here is where I do my work. This here is where I do my mixing. Up here, if I need to do any admin, I spin round, I go up the other end, I go up the back of the room. So it separates the two. So this, when I'm here, when I'm sitting here, when I'm here, I'm working. It's not a case of, I've not got the internet up here. I've got it there, kind of thing. So it has its benefits in that regard, and it's more a case of it's more a case of what you don't want it to do is you don't want Dolby Atmos to be rendering audio constantly in the background on this computer and kind of sacrifice some usage CPU on this computer. You want that computer to be free to do whatever it wants to do, and use all its cores processing what you actually want to be doing up here. And then you've got something else that's processing all the Dolby Atmos rendering, and it's the way I would recommend doing it. Albeit you would have to set up, you'd have to use Dante to route round to a Mac via like a Cat5 cable or Cat8, whatever it is now. So yeah, there are benefits, and I would, if you have the option to run it on the same Mac or to route it to another Mac, definitely route it to another Mac. Like I say, it's mainly CPU usage. It just frees up a lot of CPU usage.